Good morning, pleasant good Wednesday morning to one and all. Today, Wednesday, the 5th day of February 2025. Welcome to today's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Now, let me warn you from the beginning, I've been having some serious technical challenges this morning, internet and other challenges. And so therefore, if you hear me dragging or something seems wrong, just bear up. Nothing is gonna prevent us from bringing you the credible, valuable information. So welcome to this day, this great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. It's a privilege to have been able to get up this morning and to see a new day. And we should not take that for granted. We should give praise and thanks to the Almighty. So yes, here we are. We have so much to tell you. I should stop saying that, because by now it's every day that we come here. We have lots and lots of stuff to tell you about, to bring you the credible, valuable information. So my colleague, Mr. Conway, as usual, he's in the studio ready and waiting to bring you valuable information. So as he would normally say, he would say, let's get it on. Now, because of the technical issues, I'm going to be unable to do the roll call this morning. And what happens? The program was scheduled about 7. And the first man on, I remember seeing Wayne Little from the UK, and several persons came on. But then due to the issues that I've encountered, a lot of people were dropped out from the comments. All those who came in before 8:30 were removed from the comments. So I'm not going to bother with the roll call. We're going to go into the announcement, and we are going to go straight into the program. We have a lot to tell you, and therefore we're going to do just that. Now, in terms of the announcements, we start with the sad announcements first. Death, and we regret to announce the death of a former member, the Victor Bowen. The older police remember 8568 Bowen. Back in the day when I joined the TSC, was there. Very colorful character. Those of you who knew him, we know that he was a very colorful character. We understand that he passed away night before the last, I think, after a brief period of illness in the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation. Then we also have the death, it has been reported, of member Joan Quintin, a female former member passed. They said her number was 14299, and she worked at the commissioner's switchboard for some period of time. I understand that she recently passed. And we also have not a member of the force as such, but we remember Ken Cosby, comedian, actor, folklorist. He passed away recently. Ken Cosby passed away recently. And then this morning, we learned of the tragic death of Kyle Anthony Solomon, who was a city councillor, Georgetown City Councillor, responsible for Constituency 9. It is said that he was murdered this morning. All this morning, the information is sketchy, but they said he was stabbed somewhere, some place he has, and they claim that they are on the hunt for some 16-year-old suspect. So he was killed this morning during some robbery. So you had those deaths to report. And again, condolences to the relatives, friends, and family members of those deceased persons. When you look at it, this is a city councillor, young man. I'm not sure what his age is or was, but young man, prominent man into politics. Think he's part of the PNC new setup. Claimed that he's killed this morning by a 16-year-old. That is what is being reported. And we have said repeatedly on this program that it is time the sociologists analyze, because as I pointed out, I remember doing sociology at university, and the people like Emile Durkheim and these functionalists said that crime is functional. And by that, they mean that when crime is prevalent in a society, it operates to show that institutions of social control are not properly functioning. Talk about the schools, the church, the homes, the family. That says a breakdown in those institutions that cause people, especially young people, to get involved in crime. I'm no sociologist. I'm just telling you. So we are people in robbery over the Christmas just in December. Men shot and killed 18-year-old, 19-year-old. Now you're a 16-year-old is wanted in connection with this one. It is a worrying trend. It is a worrying trend. And I know people just jump when, especially when a young person is shot and killed. People say, yeah, good for you, and think, yeah, maybe, yeah, he turned to a life of crime, and they say you reap what you sow. But we have to examine this thing more holistically to see what is the cause, what is causing these youths to turn to a life of crime. That is the work for the sociology. So again, condolences to all those persons who, the relatives of the persons who passed away. And let me say this now. Birthday greetings, man. Let me move to a happier subject. Birthday greetings. Today is the birth anniversary of Woman Assistant Superintendent Holly-Ann Hooper. Holly-Ann worked with me at Big Dam. Very competent person. And it is sad to see what the system did to her. Right? She was one of the people who, following the 2020 elections, and if you recall, on Christmas Eve Day, when Robeson sent that list to happy for people to be charged criminally, she was one of the persons listed there. And they claim that she was involved in alien smuggling or something like that. Because at the time, she was at the immigration department, and those persons were asked to supply names of persons who had left the country, who were not in the country during the election, and who the records show that had voted. They couldn't vote because they were out of the country, but was part of the rigging. So these people provided the government with information, and she and others are being up to now, because she was transferred from immigration, and they get you all over the place. So happy birthday to you, Holly-Ann. Then retired Senior Superintendent George Fraser. George is celebrating a birth anniversary today. George was one of the members of the Standing Order Review team. He was charged along with me, Mr. Conway, Mark Gilbert, and Ivla Whitaker. We were all charged with conspiracy to commit fraud. So George is observing his natal day today. Also observing today is retired Superintendent Danny, who is always on this program, Ivan Daniels, 9731. Very good detective back in the day. He was a good athlete too. I remember him being a high jumper. Danny is celebrating. He said on the post when he came on the comment, he said he's celebrating or he's observing his 70th birthday today. Congratulations to you, Danny. We also have a former member, Queenie Wilson, sorry. Queenie Wilson is observing today as well. And we have our dedicated student, my brother from Jamaica, Dudley Bryan, former senior officer in the Jamaican constabulary. They call it that police force or service, the Jamaica police, I can't remember the exact name, but constabulary. He is observing a natal day today as well. Dudley is my good friend in Jamaica, always on the program. We don't miss a program. And last but by no least, one of the more, what should I say, controversial figures, a man who is in the trenches fighting for freedom of speech and all that, is observing, is celebrating a birthday today. I refer to Mr. Rickford Burke out of New York. He's celebrating today as well. I want to say congratulations and happy birthday to all those who are celebrating today, all those who celebrated recently, and all those who will be celebrating in the next few days. Happy birthday to all of you. Now, before I bring Mr. Conway, I have two more things to talk about. Should have mentioned this on Monday. You know, many times on social media and other programs, we come out and we are very critical of public servants, perhaps many times justifiably so. They are in these offices, they believe they're a law unto themselves, you don't get proper service and all of that. Well, I had a different experience last Friday, which I think I owe it to the young lady and others. I know her name. I don't know if she's a listener to the program. But I had to go to the Triumph NDC office to collect the pension book for 2025, old age pension book. Yeah, I'm of that age. So you get old age pension. And when I got there Friday morning, they had like about 20 people, I guess. And then it turned out that they were there for different things. And this young lady, very petite, young African Guyanese woman, she came to the door and she, in a loud voice, pleasant voice, try to find out what people were there for. Some were there to just have their pension book stamped. Some were there for other things which she was able to deal with right away. People like me, some were also there to collect pension book. And I can tell you it was a most pleasant experience. The way she spoke very professionally, she was very, very efficient and in less than no time because, and this is the thing we talk about. For example, those who have to get a book stamp, she was able to do that quickly. So they weren't sitting there and waiting. All they wanted was a stamp on the book, and she did that and they moved on. Others, she was able to advise them when they have to come back, what they have to do. And in no time, that crowd was reduced and people were served. And I'm sure I was very, very pleasantly surprised about the service she provided. I don't know her name, very slim. She was there, very slim, and I must say, very, very efficient. So congratulations to that young lady at the regional office there. And I say, we criticize when, and with justification, when we go to these offices and we don't get proper service. And I think we owe it to those persons when they do well to congratulate them because it shows that it's not all of them unprofessional. We have many people who act very, very professionally. Now, share the live, and as I've said, I suspect when I look at the internet, I've been getting problems all morning. So bear with us, bear with us. We're not going to leave you or forsake you. So we're going to get that done. And the next thing that I want to remind us that this month, February month, is Black History Month. Call it African Heritage, they call it all kind of things. But this month, February month, is African History Month. In American, they got different names for it, but we're going to call it the Black History Month, also known as in America as African American History Month. African American History Month. And later on, when we go into the program, we're going to tell you what other people who say that they're Black. The man, I'm referring specifically to the Dr. Philip Baldio, who had an interview recently with Travis Chase. We're going to talk about that. Before I even wait, let me congratulate Travis Chase. A wonderful, wonderful interview. This man, we can go into it in greater details, but at the beginning, I think it's important for me to congratulate Travis Chase, the journalist, a railway journalist, who obviously did his homework. And so when the man come and decided he can dance and give Travis a history lesson, Travis was able to keep him in line. So much so that at the end of the interview, the man cried, man. The man cried, right? The man cried at the end of the interview. And those of you who have not seen it, I will encourage you. Sure, it's there on YouTube, it's there on social media. Watch that interview with Travis Chase and Dr. Philip, I think that's the name, Philip Baldio, right? You can't go wrong by watching. And for the people in the journalistic fraternity and so on, there's a lesson to some of them who call themselves news operatives and they don't know how to conduct a proper interview. Travis, masterclass. Congratulations to you. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, good morning, my brother.
Good morning to all. Happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. And let me join with you in expressing sympathy to the relatives and friends of Bowen, former policeman who died. He was quite a character. And I will stop there. Birthday greetings, yes, Alian. Happy birthday to you. George Fraser, retired senior superintendent. We used to call him Fisher. He's from my area, West Coast Barbies. And I think he would be vexed. He will be vexed if I say we get the name Fisher. You know, in the small days, we used to get a lot of fish in Barbies. Tilapia was the order of the day. And I think his mother was frying some fish there. And some of his brothers and sisters were wrong. And she missed a piece of fish. And she asked who removed the fish. And nobody is saying nothing. And then she watched George. Apparently, like he put the fish in his pocket. And the aisle started run down his foot. And she said, that is the Fisher. And from then on, they started to call him Fisher. To Ivan, happy birthday. And I know your wife, Girl, is going to take good care of you. Dudley, I hope you got all the jerk pork and the jerk chicken and the managed water and all the good goodies that will flow from your body. I always remember Jamaica. I had some wonderful times there. Jamaica is my favorite island. I had some wonderful trips. I went to the top of the line and the tenement yard and the ghettos and all that. What is a wonderful place. And to Rick Ford Burke, happy birthday.
Yeah, folks, I'm sure you see we get a little bubbling and so I'm a bear with we ain't got nothing to do with it. Just so Mr. Conway was a little and let me move on. On Monday we were talking about the Commissioner of Police in Trinidad and Tobago, whether she was fired or whether she was suspended. I think the last word that I read is that she was indeed suspended. She was suspended. That is what is being carried in the news, that she was not fired, she was suspended. So I thought we'll correct that. Now I noted something. We had spoken about it before. You know, when a person is arrested by the police, they have what they call a mugshot. They put them something on the chest, the name, the date of birth, the date of the offense. They used to put the ethnicity. Sometimes they got a little problem with that. They used to describe black people as male Negro. So now they don't put that. Sometimes they put male of African descent or something like that. But I note, and we mention it here, that when certain people are arrested for crimes, right? They don't put the mugshot. Let me show you what I mean. These are four men who were arrested on the quarantine. They said they were separate for a spate of robberies on the quarantine. These four men all look like of Indian descent, arrested on the quarantine. They say for a spate of robberies. And as you can see, this is the picture that was released. No mugshot with the name on across the chest and the date of offense and the date of birth. And there's not only one. Let me show you a next one. Look, these four people, gold smuggling, arrested for gold smuggling. No mugshot with the name and all of that, ethnicity, just the name and the picture. That's what you have. And the 10 finish, look at this. These are the three persons who were said were arrested in connection with that murder just over a week ago, West Demerara. And well, the police said to that they confessed to the murder. You see who they are? And again, no mugshot. And can you recall we had an incident where the man shoot and kill on the East Coast? This guy who was removing some beverages, he said, same thing. A matter of fact, I think I had that here as well. And when you talk about these things, people say that you're being racist, you're being nothing of the sort. Look, this is the next one. Let me show you. This is a businessman who's alleged to have killed somebody. That was the thing. No regular mugshot. And when you talk about it, people call you names and say you're racist and all of that. But that is the reality we have. All of us are equal, but some are more equal than others. So I see these. I like to make these observations and bring it to the students' attention because it shows a pattern. It shows a pattern. Let me bring Mr. Conway to comment on that. See, these mugshots that are not mugshots, and what are your views on that?
So true, I also observe it, certain people mug shots and certain people without mug shots. Is there's no, well, they what do you say, consistent in their inconsistency, there's all the thing going on. Certain people are there and others, you don't put in them at all.
Yeah, well, that's what you're having. Folks, again, I need to apologize to any break you might have. Again, internet giving me a little rough time this morning. Now, the next thing, we ended off on Monday with Mr. Conway explaining to the students about missing person reports, policemen in particular, how missing person reports should be dealt with. And we were close to the end of time. So I thought it is important enough, especially for the policemen working at stations, to know what the standing orders say, how a report of missing person should be dealt with. So let me bring in Mr. Conway to continue where he left off on Monday to tell you how a report of missing person should be dealt with. Mr. Conway, CC, go ahead. The
Yeah,
floor is
and
yours.
it is standing order number 68, page 271. For reference, standing order number 68, page 271. And it talks about missing person when a report is made. And I've been getting reports that persons going to the police station and tell you, come back in 48 hours, come back in 24 hours, and nothing is recorded. Maybe that's the American style, but that's not in Guyana. That you have to record it in what we call the police occurrence book, a record of the person. You get a description of the person, and also you take a statement from the person who is reporting that person is missing. You have the details here, and then you what you have is that you circulate what we call all station message to all the stations, giving a description of the person. And you write out what you call Form A84. I don't know if it's still in existence, where they used to have the DCI, Daily Crime Information System, originated from CID and the Police Gazette. So this information of the missing person, apart from being sent to all stations, recorded in the DCI, the Daily Crime Information. And you need to, my training is, what are embedded in us is that you treat each missing person as murder until you can prove otherwise. Treat it as a case of murder until proof otherwise. Missing persons on many occasions turn up dead. I can recall one when I was a young constable at Myconi. There's a girl who was raped, and this guy was before the court for raping her. And she lived with her grandmother, and her grandmother came, I think it was a Sunday morning, and reported to me that the girl was missing during the night. I took the report. I took a statement from her. I did caused the message to be circulated. I wrote up a form A84, missing person form, and I did what I was required to do. 3 days afterward, they found her floating in the Myconi Creek, and the postmortem revealed that she died from strangulation. And I can remember the detective Oscar Morris, who was a detective officer. Those men were excellent detective officers. Not them jokers who we get with the police. Not the one who you are caution somebody, you got to pick up a piece of paper and read the caution to the me and everything. Excellent detective officer. And he came to me. I was working in the morning. He said, "You understand the report the mother to Douglas police, and as you call me, and I'm starting this investigation with you because the girl was strangled with you. Come and bring them books, let me see." And I was able to happily produce a book, the occurrence book, with all the details there, the telephone message sent book with all the message circulated, the form A84 with what was sent to CRO. And he said, "Okay, good work." They eventually contacted the guy who had raped her, and he admitted, he confessed that he had murdered her. He was charged, but I don't know what made the case. So I'm saying that when missing persons reports are made, you treat it as murder unless proven otherwise. And you need to record it there and then. Record what is reported with the details and the relative form. I know form 84 still in existence. I don't think they're producing daily crime information anymore. I don't know, maybe they're producing, and those things will be circulated so that proper investigation can be done. Don't tell them come back in 72 hours. Don't tell them come back in 48 hours. Don't come back in 24 hours. You at station as have to record and take a statement from the person. And more so if you can get a photograph of the person, that also will be helpful. That is how I know it, and that's how I know it in standing order number 668.
And that is how it should be. That is how it should be. The report should be entertained in the occurrence book, statement taken from the person who's making the report. You got to get a full description of the missing person, what type of clothing they were last seen wearing, and all of that. You have to record. And as I said, all station messages circulated, missing person, all meaning all station message folks means that that all the stations in the force will receive the message about this missing person. And as Mr. Conway pointed out, you should get the DCI, the daily crime information. So all of these things will go to force control into CID headquarters, and they used to compile this DCI, a sheet with all the major things: missing person, robberies, wanted person, all of those things were generated daily. Daily, that's what I call daily crime, DCI, daily crime information. And I can tell you too that when you have to go and beat, you have to go and patrol, you have to familiarize yourself with the daily crime information about wanted person, stolen motor vehicle, stolen bicycle, all of those things. But we have moved away over the years from those things, and therefore you get the problem. I'm saying that if you want to be on top of crime and to deal with these issues, all of those things have to be reinstated. And now with technology, it should be much easier now with technology. But a lot of the people that really there know, all they got to go into the records, they got to see the things there. And it is sad. It is sad. And it's part of the laziness. People turn up, oh, come back. And next thing, as we have lamented on before, you come to the station, oh, this is not this station district. Go to that station district. A report ain't gonna have a station district. A person making a report can make the report at any police station or outpost, any police station or outpost. If it is that the report is an incident or a crime committed in another station district, it is the responsibility of the rank taking the report at that station to do an in-transit report, send it to the appropriate station for follow-up action. But not to tell people, oh, this is BV, you got to go to Pleasance or you got to go to Georgetown and you can't make the report. These are the things that you have to make sure, because when they do that, that's a neglect of duty. People have complained about it repeatedly. You go to one station to make a report and they tell you, well, this is not that station district. You got to go somewhere else. It is neglect, it is laziness, and of course, no action is taken against those persons, so they continue to do that type of thing, right? So again, these are teaching things that people should be taught. Yeah, Cedric, you talk about Oscar Morris, Ulrich Landon. I was exposed to Ulrich at a very early age when I, in the force, as a Special Constable at Sparna Police Station, 6605, Ulrich Landon, top detective. I know Oscar Morris as well, with the Feltat, all them days, with the Feltat. Fantastic detective. Now, you get detective telling the court that they caution people over telephone and all of that. That is what you have. Senior people giving evidence that a man who is accused of an offense or crime is cautioned over the telephone. Folks, you can't make these things up. I know a case where a man told a judge that it was okay to arrest someone when the person turned up for court, having me summoned to attend court. They turned up for court, arrested, and a senior man gave evidence before a judge that was okay. They could arrest them to put allegations of a charge when the person's already been charged. That's where we're in a sad state in this place, a very, very sad state. Well, let me move on. Monday, we talk about this spate of fatal accidents. You had one at Mocha Road where a man was struck and killed, the vehicle drove away. Then they reported, we show you the picture of this one here, where this driver was proceeding south along the eastbound public road, and he lost control, it would appear, of the vehicle, went into the path of a truck, and this is what was left of the vehicle. Of course, he died. Then we had this one we tell you about Sunday night. These two guys were proceeding north along the Lander Canaan public road. Somehow they lost control, crashed into the rail, both died. And sadly, we also told you West Demerara, I think it's Denhamstel area, or I don't think we told you that, but fatal again, some 18-year-old riding who is not licensed, he riding a motorcycle, so the report goes, went to overtake, drove into the path of an oncoming vehicle, he died, and his brother, who was the pillion rider, injured in that accident. Then this morning, This morning, it has been reported that you get another fatal accident at I think it's Garden, well, some Coven Garden on the East Bank, where it is said that a truck crushed some pedestrian this morning. And they're going to tell you all kind of things. They're going to tell you about fatal incidents and fatal accidents, are saying that people are dying on the road, and you have to put proper measures in place. This piecemeal thing ain't gonna work. They're gonna come with some campaign against truck, according to the squatters. We're going after the truck when the weather improve and all of that. The thing has gained serious proportions, the use of the road. And I saw a comment on social media this morning. People said, you're blaming the driver and sometimes the pedestrian. I agree. That's why we say on this program all categories of road users, whether you're a pedestrian, whether you're a cyclist, pedecyclist, motorcyclist, car, private car, minibus, truck, all categories, animal drawn vehicles, all categories. The thing has reached alarming proportions, at least for me. But given the response, apparently those in authorities are not alarmed. They're going to tell you, we issued more traffic ticket. Last week they said they get bicycle without light campaign, where they're now arresting people who drive bicycle without light, bicycle without bell. I don't know bicycle without light and bicycle without bell killing people on the road. I'm not saying that you shouldn't deal with that, because it's an offense to ride a bicycle without light and bell and all these everything still in the books. But one would have thought that the focus would have been on those things that are causing fatal accidents. The speeding, primary factor. So these accidents that we're talking about, look at the one, some of you might have seen the video with the one where the man drove into the part of the truck. After I've been speeding, he lost control. You know, maybe he had some medical emergency. We don't know. Because unfortunately, when the postmortem examination is done, they're not going to reveal all of that. I think it might be done today, Wednesday. They just say the man is speeding, done and that. Was he under the influence of alcohol? They don't check. The two that were coming down, reports suggest that they might have been sporting, right? They might have been sporting, and they even suggest that the driver might have been under the influence of alcohol. That's a suggestion. Yeah, my brother, because the one that we reported to with this truck, with the car that went into the part of the truck, they're saying that the driver of the truck is a foreign national. The driver of that truck is a foreign national. That's the thing they say from Trinidad, right? So all of these things you got to look at. You don't know familiar he was in the road. As I said, based on what we saw on the video, he seemed not to have been at fault. But all of these things, they should check thoroughly. All of these things. We talk about the one this morning. Look at the picture here. This is the picture of the one this morning, where you could see apparently this is the deceased covered there with some sheet. Every other day, at least every week, fatal accidents, people are killed on the road. It is there. The roads of Guyana are dangerous. I drove on the East Bank recently, and I was surprised at the quality of the road now. It is obviously deteriorated, maybe because of those trucks traversing. I know you know weight restrictions in Guyana, so they loaded as much as they could load, blocking up the road, and the road was very wavy, very undulating. Maybe that too is resulting, because if the road uneven, rainfall, and they're driving at breakneck speed, chances are they're going to lose control and they're going to crash, they're going to die. That is what we have. Let me bring Mr. Conway to make his comment on this out of control carnage on the road.
Well, we've been saying all the time is what they're doing is that they're looking at piecemeal effort. And piecemeal effort will only produce piecemeal results. We said all of be holistic approach towards this thing, holistic approach. And look at the fatal accidents that's going on here. And nobody checking back the driver. How the people get a driver license? And someone in the fatal accident, he can't read and write. So I know how really he passed the theoretical exam. They need a holistic approach, and you got to target all the things. It must be data driven. They're doing bicycle campaign. When last person riding bicycle get involved in accident? Bicycle without bell. When last bicycle without bell and bicycle without brakes contributed? Bicycle without light. You got to be realistic. Face reality. Look at what is happening. But see, when they're cocking the figures, the response that they're going to do is got to be cockish too. It can't work. The response will be flawed. You're in incidents when there are fatal accidents. A holistic approach has got to be thing, and then the big one, the big C, the corruption. They're not looking at that. They're not looking at all. How people get in the driver's license, that is critical. You gain Zaro, follow the theoretical exam, and nobody checking upon Zaro. Nobody know integrity testing upon Zaro. Nobody no anti-corruption operation in Zaro, because this is Zaro. That Zaro, they are uncorruptible. They are paragons of virtue. If you don't analyze the stats, I don't work with the analysis, whatever you're doing can't work. First thing, you gotta understand reality. And reality is not what you expect for happen or you think for what you want for. Reality is what is happening. And based on the reality, you use your human and other resources to deal with this situation. Otherwise, so that things will continue to happen left, right, and center.
Yeah, my brother, continue to happen. You know, someone in the comments here, people saying, and this is true, sand on the roadway, stone on the roadway. We have seen on the Linden Highway and other places, trucks not being properly covered. So therefore, sand fly off, and the road being bumpy, sand falling on the road. All this danger, contributing to the road being more dangerous. Then rainfall, water there, water lodges, you might get hydroplaning. All of these things are contributing to accident, and they got to look at it very holistically. Stop this piecemeal thing. You were there that the Attorney General went to Parliament and he amended the motor vehicle and road traffic registration legislation. Have they analyzed to see how effective those things are? What has been the result since these amendments? Do they do that? Or they just go in one time, you do something, and then that's it? That is part of the problem. I believe that is part, without a doubt. Without a doubt, when you look at the way people drive, I am convinced that some of them, because they never did classes, they don't know to drive properly, and they get licensed through corrupt means, that is resulting in the madness on the road. Because some of the basic things, you would thought that, well, a man, once he got through some proper training, basic he will know. But the way the people drive, obviously they don't know these things. I made the point before about driving schools. There are no standard in Ghana for driving school. Any Tom, Dick, Harry, Biari, Lalbaji can go and say, you open a driving school. Anybody can say they're a driving instructor. All of those are things you got to look at. We say over and over, it is time they establish a Department of Transportation to look into traffic in a very holistic manner. Do they check to see whether these vehicles get in accident, whether they were proper, they were certified fit on the road by whom, whether they had smooth tire, whether the steering not proper. All of these things you have to check if you really want to know what the problem is. You recall during the last administration, I think there was a ban on used tires. This government came in and they lifted the ban. A lot of the tires are not losing in vehicles, especially when rain is falling, because we talk about braking distance. And braking distance is dependent on a lot of factors. The speed at which you're driving, the weight of the vehicle that you are driving, the condition of the tire that you're driving, the condition of the road, that all of these things impact your braking distance. In other words, from the time you apply brakes to the time the vehicle comes to a stop, these things impact on your braking distance. And therefore, it is time, and we're going to continue to talk about it, it is time that they make sure that they have some Department of Transportation to address transportation in a very holistic manner. Stop this piecemeal thing. Stop. I know sometimes they listen and sometimes they respond. And also, you have to make sure that your resources are properly used. I saw a statement from Calvin Brutus. Yay, Calvin at it again. He coming bit by bit by bit. You have to count more, Calvin. You don't have to talk more. And he was saying, he wrote something here, I think it was yesterday. So he said, indeed sad that we lost more lives on the road and more heart-wrenching is that these lives lost were all young people. Mounting pressure is placed on the Guyana police force whenever there are accidents. But the reality is, the little resources given to the police is relocated to areas and individuals who should not have them. For example, the Guyana police force car, a Guyana police force car, and a police officer is assigned to the chairman of the Police Service Commission on a full-time basis. Let me read it back. This is what Brutus is saying. He's saying mounting pressure is placed on the Guyana police force whenever there are accidents. But the reality is, the little resources given to the police are relocated to areas and individuals who should not have them. Yeah, he said, for example, the Guyana police force car and a police officer are assigned to the chairman of the Police Service Commission on a full-time basis. This cannot be the norm. So says embattled Assistant Commissioner Calvin Brutus. He goes on, that rank and that car can be better utilized during traffic enforcement operations. The chairman of the Police Service Commission is entitled to duty-free concession by the government. I had recalled that vehicle and driver from the chairman of the Service Commission upon instructions of the Commissioner of Police, who was out of the jurisdiction at the time and for whom I was holding. When I questioned the authority on which the Police Service Commission chairman was given a forced car and driver, I was told that he had complained bitterly that he approached the president in writing, calls and text messages to facilitate his duty-free concession, but the president was only reading his messages without responding and not picking up his calls. The other argument was that he had requested a meeting with the president, who promised to meet with him but never did, but instead met daily with another member of the Service Commission, Ernesto. Then he goes on to say the police car and driver should be recalled and deployed in areas where they are better needed and serves not only individuals but the masses. That so says Brutus. He's now saying that. Well, he did say that he had recalled the vehicle. But I was surprised. I was chairman of the Police Service Commission for the period, and I never once, I had my own vehicle. You get traveling, they pay you traveling for your own vehicle. I never once asked to use a Service Commission vehicle. There's a Service Commission vehicle, and if it is that he got to use, why a police vehicle is there with him full time? A police vehicle with a driver to service the chairman of the Police Service Commission, the bishop. So, Brutus, you're revealing, I tell you, it's time you seek out Atlantic, that was one of the record labels. Stack was the next, Motown. It's time you seek out those record labels and cut a record, man. Cut a record. Because these things, I mean, let's forget about who is revealing it. Brutus, the controversial Brutus. As I'm saying, I no sympathy for you. But look, listen to the facts. He's claiming that a police vehicle is assigned to the chairman of the Police Service Commission, vehicle and driver, on a full-time basis. And he posted the picture of the vehicle, a marked police vehicle, assigned to the chairman of the Police Service Commission. And people will tell you, you go to a police station to make a report, they tell you, oh, we ain't a vehicle and driver to respond. That is something that is frequently said. And a vehicle and a driver is assigned to the chairman of the Police Service Commission. Mr. Conway, all I got to say is that maybe I miss out because I was the chairman and nothing was ever assigned to me. Your views. I wouldn't have taken it in an event because I had my own vehicle and I used to use my own vehicle to go to work. Your views, Mr. Conway.
You miss out big time there, man. Miss out big time and the thing there. I think is I can't find word to describe it. That you gotta chairman of the police service commission and you get a vehicle and a driver attached to him full time? No. It can't work. And when the commission has a vehicle, it is wrong. But St. Paul, you miss out big time there, man. You should have got the vehicle to drive about all about the damn place, thing. And then where really did the chairman of the service commission go? He do go on the what business he get on the road there? Business he's supposed to do in the office, he don't do. So maybe he busy on the road. That's why he can't do business in the office. The thing is shocking that the chairman of the police service commission has a driver and a vehicle attached to him full time. No way.
And over the years, I can recall many chairmen of the Police Service Commission. I was Ronald Gajraj, the man before me, Satich, I think was his name, Donald Robinson. Over the years, a lot of people held that position, and I can't recall any one of them having a police vehicle and a policeman attached to them on a full-time basis. None. Certainly, I did not. So something is definitely wrong. Something is definitely wrong. Misuse of resources. Misuse of resources. That is what you have happening. Now, the next thing you know, Mr. Conway talk about missing person report. And I thought I also mentioned reports of threats. I saw something circulating. We're going to read about it a little bit more as we go on. Where it would appear these days, let me put it this way. As soon as corruption is exposed, these businessmen and other people who are involved in corruption, as soon as they're exposed, they cry foul. They say that they're threatened. They say that you're attempting to extort them. And then they run to the weaponized police force to make a complaint. And then next year, the person is wanted for threatening language and threatening behavior. Weaponized police force. Because let me tell you this. Reports are going to be made about threats, threatening behavior, threatening language. And as I remember it, if a person makes a report about threatening language or threatening behavior, the rank to whom the report is made got to take the report, entertain the report in the occurrence book, get a statement from that person who is making the report. You get a statement as to exactly what transpired. And let me deal with threatening language. Was it over the telephone? Was it in person? How, when, and how was this threatening language used? What were the words used? All this you got to record in the statement. And perhaps equally important or even more important, you have to find out who was present when these threats were made. You have to get supporting statement. No one man businessman walk into the station and say, next man threaten me, and then you go and say you're making an arrest. You have to entertain the report, get a detailed statement from him or her as to what was the form of the threat, what were the words used. Not just he threatened me. What did he say? Has to be recorded in detail. Where were you? And all of that. Same thing with behavior. All these things have to be recorded. As I've said, who else been there, as we would say in Guyanese parlance? Who are the threats? Who saw when he threatened you? All of these things. And when you get that, then you have to get statements from the person or persons who saw or who heard the threats. You have to get those statements. Because I can tell you this. This is how I learned that somebody come and make a report of a threat and language in particular. Nobody else was there. They can't give you no witness to support their story. We used to say it's a car. PAA. You know what PA means? Private Action Advised. Y'all, them old police already can, y'all tell me for wrong. Once they come, CC will get this thing. Once they come, they make the report. You entertain the report. You take a statement from the reporter, a detailed statement. Find out what were the words that constituted this threat. Anybody else was around? Who heard? Nobody is only he threatened me. You take a statement and you tell him private action advice because you're wasting time to say you're charging the person. It's E-word against the person word. Let them take private action. But no, with this weaponized police force, when they go in there, and now there's a talk, they're going to go and get people who, witnesses of convenience, you know. A man go and say, make a report that somebody threatened me. They're going to get witnesses of convenience to say, well, yes, I was there. And even then, a proper investigation will reveal that they are lying. But that is how, not through the man make a report, you're gone and say you're arresting, without even something, you never take the statement. You never record, they make an occurrence of the report. But you say you're going and arrest somebody. On what basis? On what basis? Again, I say, the report is made, the report should be entertained. Threatening behavior is a occurrence book. Threatening language is a occurrence book, generally. Then what happened? Statement from the person who is making the report. They can either give their own statement or you take their own statement from them. Then, who was around? Important, get the name or names of the persons who were around. And then you get statement from them too to support what this allegation is. And then, once you get supporting statement, the people there, they audit, they saw it, then you can say, you can move to the step. If you can't provide, if the reporter can't provide the names of people who were there, PAA means private action advised, and the matter closed. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC,
Yeah.
reports of threatening language and threatening behavior.
Well, a very important ingredients of that thing, is that you ask, were you afraid? Were you afraid as a result of those words that you think or the action taken? And then, if you can get to what's called independent witness or persons to support them kind of story, you don't rush to court for them thing. Perhaps you contact the person who allegation made it and you talk to them, maybe give them a warning, but you don't go and prosecute. You don't run to court with them thing. You have to get proper statements to prove the elements of the charge. And I'm saying, and it's critical that were you afraid? I mean, frankly, but I only make the report just so in case anything should happen to me later on. I make the report. But me, frankly, them kind of story, But the thing is that you need to get witness if you want to do proper. If you want to put the person before the court, otherwise, as you mentioned, PA.
You're right. It's important to report to say, as a result of the threat, he or she was afraid. If they were not afraid, then the offense is not committed. Very, very important. Very, very important. Because someone else I didn't frighten. You can't beat me. And it's gone the case. You ain't got no case. You have no case. So let me understand, right? Right. Already say you got a stamp for the occurrence. Inquiries ordered, completed station, and completed final. Done with it. PAA. Exactly. I remember that very well. Comrade Share the Life, we going into this big bacchanal that emerging, all the corruption you're hearing now. We going into it. But before I deal with the corruption, I've been asked to play this tape. So I'm going to play the tape I showed it on Monday. We're going to play corruption. So we go into corruption now. So we want to tell you what corruption is. So bear with me. This tape, some people have asked me for it and I've sent it to a few people. Let me, here it is. Here we go. Corruption.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in a state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits, only temporarily, those who participate in it. Everyone else is a victim of the theft, the deceit, the dishonesty, and the lies that corruption feeds on. You need to know that a corrupt person is stealing from you. Corruption is filthy work and despicable acts of treachery done under the table and behind closed doors. Corruption is a disgusting shame. Corruption keeps a nation back from true development and from progress. Wise investors steer clear of a corrupt environment. They would rather put their resources into a place where the playing field of opportunity is equal for all and not bent towards feeding the financial lust of corrupt, lying, cheating, thieving politicians and government officials. How many wonderful development projects have been lost because the investors didn't want to do business in a swamp of evil? When those great projects go to another nation or to some other place, we all lose. Believe me when I tell you that corruption steals from you, it steals from all of us. Corruption plunders the nation's wealth. Corruption people compromise on truth, equity, and fairness, choosing instead to feed off the short-term benefits of crookedness, exploitation, and financial perversion. Corruption is not just a personal matter. It's a culture. It's a way of life, not just for individual people, but for companies, communities, governments, and nations. Corrupt nations, hiding behind large companies, will seek to invest in other weak nations in order to take over the assets of the nation that they've invested into. They will provide financial loans to a nation for the much needed infrastructure, and they will do it with assets that they provide. They will sign contracts by lining the pockets of rotten government officials who participate in this kind of corruption and are then held hostage by their own deceit and greed. Corruption is nothing less than a form of theft and national robbery. A corrupt person steals from everyone in society. We all lose when corruption is rampant. Those who participate in corruption have chosen evil over good, lies over truth, and personal gain over well-being of all. To be corrupt means to be rotten. When meat is corrupt, it's rotten, and it stinks. Rotten meat can't be eaten. When a person is corrupt, he's rotten and unfit for a place in the community. A corrupt person should be jailed in order to protect society from the vile deeds of the corrupt person. Government should be protecting us from the foul results of corruption instead of being the proponents and participants in corruption. When corruption is systemic, when it's a culture and a way of life, when corruption thrives, it destroys the health of the community and nation. Now let me tell you something. Defeating corruption is a very difficult thing. The love of money is the root of all evil, the Bible says. People who love money will do almost anything to get it. Those who choose to stand up against corruption, you need to know that we're going to be involved in a war. We will be threatened, vilified, intimidated, marginalized, and ridiculed. These kind of people who stand up against corruption will often feel alone, as if they are the problem instead of the solution. Corruption can only be defeated when enough people have had enough and decide to do something about it.
Yeah, that is what corruption is. That is what corruption is. And we're going to show this very frequently for you to understand. As I've said, some people ask me to send the tape to them, and I've done so. Corruption, and I said this is the best, this is the ideal time to get into the other aspect for the next hour or so. We're talking here, we saw over the past couple of days where this big corruption scandal at the Ministry of Housing, the Central Housing and Planning Authority, where the CEO, they said, Sherwin Graves resigned. But we're going to go in and try to analyze it for you, right? They say there's an article, thing with a letter or post that I'll read to you, that there's a demand for an investigation to the sale of lands along the Heroes Highway and at Ogle. In an interview broadcast on Travis Chase, I told you earlier, I got to listen to this interview. Travis Chase had an interview 2 days ago with Dr. Philip, what is my name? Philip Baldio. He's a doctor in New York. Based on what he said, partly something was posted on social media, which he felt malign him, and he flew in to Guyana to clear his name, so to speak. Right? So he had this interview with Travis. Obviously, come prepared to push propaganda. And compliments to Travis Chase. Travis Chase did not allow him. Travis Chase did not allow him, pin him down with facts. It was clear that Travis had done his homework and not all the details. So they say In an interview broadcast by Travis Chase on Facebook on the 3rd of February 2025, Dr. Philip Baldio informed the public that he had purchased, among several other properties, including lands along the Heroes Highway from the Central Housing and Planning Authority. Remember that same Heroes Highway where somewhere in that vicinity the people from Mocha were removed because they said the road at the past Mocha Arcadia. Remember that? Remember that? They broke down the house of those people, destroyed their livestock, and people had said since then that the big aim was to give this land to supporters of the government. So here it is, this thing coming out. The CEO of the Central Housing and Planning Authority is Sherwin Graves at the time of the transactions. Public documents in New York disclose that on the 25th of March 2024, Liberty Avenue Associates, LLC, a company which Philip R. Baldio, a company which is as the sole member of Liberty Avenue Associates, sold a property located at 12515 Liberty Avenue, Richmond Hill, to SML Management, LLC. So they sold this property to SML Management, LLC, which was owned and represented by Mishana Graves for $925,000 US. There was no mortgage issued for the purchase of the property, and the recorded value of the property was below market value. Listen to what's going on. On the 11th of September 2024, SML Management LLC sold the same property at 12515 Liberty Avenue, Richmond Hill, New York, to Optimum Prime Revocable Living Trust, the trustees of which are Selwyn Leon Naftali Graves and Mishana Graves. Listen to what's going on here, you know. In the light of Dr. Baldio's admission that he obtained lands from the CPO when Mr. Graves was the CEO, and that during the same period or approximate period, he sold a property on Liberty Avenue, Richmond Hill, to an entity controlled and owned by Mishana Graves at a value below the market price, which property was subsequently transferred to a trust held by Sherwin Leon Naftali Graves and Mishana Graves. There is a clear necessity for a full and comprehensive investigation into the basis of allocations of state properties to purchasers along the Heroes Highway and at Ogle, specifically, and state lands generally. The document relating to the two transactions in New York are set out below. So here what we have. Let me break it down. This man, Baldio, admitted, right? Can't the thing, there's some company that sold, first of all, he acquired land from the Central Housing and Planning. They're saying something like 30 acres of land along the Heroes Highway, right? Around the same time, while Sherwin Graves was the CEO, he acquired this thing. Then a company that is controlled by the same Baldio sold a property in Queens, New York for $925,000 US to the same CEO family, CEO and the family. Sold it to them. Then they put it on trust. I'm going to explain to you how we're going on here. They put it on trust. Right? Conflict. And then when the thing is revealed, you decide that you resign his position as the CEO of the Central Housing and Planning Authority. You want to tell me the matter done there? This is a clear case of I would even say it goes far, it might believe it's money laundering. Where would a government official, a functionary find $925,000 US to buy a property? Because this article is saying there was no mortgage. There was no mortgage. Where would they find this money to buy this property for $925,000 US? And then what they want to do? They put it in a trust. Something they put it in a blind trust. Right? They said they put it in a trust. But he controls, according to the thing, a Sherwin Grave. And the people who wrote were careful to say, no one dog named Pompey. So maybe there are other people by the name of Sherwin Grave. But I note that this man did not deny that this property belongs to him. $925,000 for this property, and they're saying that was below the market value. I can bring him Mr. Conway just now. Below the market value. And then here, they say, here, let me read the statement that he says when he resigned. Here, what the statement that Sherwin Graves issued on yesterday's date, I think it was, to address the many questions about whether I have resigned. Yes, I have, effective immediately. This decision is deeply personal and one made after consulting with my family. It seems from various posts on social media directed at me personally. It stems from various posts on social media directed at me personally. Let me be crystal clear. My resignation is purely a personal choice, and it is no way an admission of guilt. Everything I have achieved has been through hard work and can be fully justified. However, these posts have caused significant distress to my family and impacted our mental well-being. While I take great pride in the work we've accomplished at CHPA and the many milestones we've reached, stepping away now is in the best interest of my family and the organization. I did not enter public service to be subjected to such vilification. These posts are not only upsetting, but also irresponsible, inflicting immense mental strain on individuals and their families. That is what the resignation letter says. I note in the resignation letter, he denied that the property in New York value was sold to him, or he bought it for $925,000. Didn't say, he did not dispute that. Did not dispute that. Let me bring in Mr. CC, Mr. Connery. CC, have your say on this matter that reeks of corruption. Go ahead.
Well, it's corruption in its purest form. They had there, and as you said, he did not admit, neither did he deny. And let me go over part of his statement where he said thing is deeply personal and made after consulting with my family. It stems from various parts of social media directed against me personally. No admission of guilt. And listen to this part. Everything I have achieved through hard work and can be fully justified. We can achieve a lot of things through hard work, but it's through corrupt practices. I ain't saying that he corrupt. I'm saying that. But the allegations are that this year a man is going to buy a house for over or acquire a house for over 900 and something thousand US. A guy needs with the salary that he's earning. How come that could happen? Huh? How come that would happen? I thought he come and say, no, I ain't buying no property. No, nothing is so. But then the documentation there. And here was these posts are upsetting, but also irresponsible, inflicting mental strain on individuals and their families. So it inflicted strain on individuals and their families. He and his family, on individuals and their family. And you gotta look at the bigger picture. I gotta look at comparison with Brutus. Was he a lone wolf? Is he alone? How come things will happen that they get these allegations against him with this massive amount of money? There were no checks and balances there at that ministry. No, nobody checking, nobody see what's going on. No checks and balances. Is it a one-man show operating there? Or as we say, monkey see, monkey do? I see other people doing and nothing will happen to them, so I'm gonna do the same thing. So many questions there, And it can't be a one-man show. Others got to be deeply involved. If we look at the allegation, was he a front runner for people in the government and people in the United States of America? Those are questions to be asked. Did he hold in for people? Senior government officials or business entity in the United States of America? It's mind-boggling that one man, that so much allegations could be made against one man. And then the man that Chavez just interviewed got lands, prime lands, 20 acres of lands. And it's through the same government department headed by the same person we're talking about. You know? Somebody meant quid pro quo. You do something for me, I do something for you. We say hand wash hand, make hand come clean. You know, the whole thing is, I say, naked corruption, unadulterated corruption. And a saying is not a lone wolf. It could have been he and he alone. And he has not denied. He didn't go into 54th state, a state of denial. He not addressed though. So it's just corruption and still more corruption. Corruption locally and corruption overseas, or as you rightly mentioned, case of money laundering. They get so much money, they don't know how to wash it. Washing money laundering is washing money, and perhaps they're using the wrong methods to wash the money. But I'm saying others, senior government officials, persons in the United States of America, had to be involved in this allegation of corrupt practices.
Right. Guyanese government official purchasing property in the States. The question is he a U.S. citizen? Is he a permanent resident? All of these things should be asked, All of these things should be asked of Mr. Graves. And then I saw something else. And let me invite you to continue to share the live. We have a good way to go. Enough more to reveal. Share the live, and thumbs up are very few. Give us a thumbs up, share the live, and we are going to continue to examine this thing that appears to be a clear case of corruption, clear case of money laundering. And to the student who talk about the trust, I can read about that. We can tell you about that in a short while. It is said, I saw something, breaking news. Now resigned CEO of the Guyana Central Housing and Planning Authority, Sherwin Graves, also purchased another property in Queens, New York on Liberty Avenue. Where is all this money coming from? Who is he fronting for? How all of the multiple hundreds millions transactions escaped the Guyanese authority? Or why did they turn a blind eye to this? But I could tell you this. They might escape the eyes of the Guyanese authority. But you're possessing property in the States, which seems like money laundering, it ain't going to escape Uncle Sam authority. You're not going to escape Uncle Sam and the people there. So let me watch out. Let's watch out. Now, as we say, money laundering. I explained before on this program, and continue to share the live. What is money laundering? When we talk about if you launder your clothes, what you do? The clothes nasty, so you put it through a process to make it clean. Similarly, that is what money laundering is. Let me read the definition. Money laundering is really, money laundering is disguising financial assets. You got disguising financial assets so they can be used without detection of the illegal activity that produced them. Through money laundering, the criminal transforms the monetary proceeds derived from criminal activity into funds which are apparently legal source, So where up and break it down. You're collecting money. I'm talking about Graves, I'm talking generally. You're collecting money that is illegal. You're getting bribe for whatever. You're getting bribe for issue license. You're getting bribe for house lot. You're getting bribe all around the place. When a man take a bribe, can't take this money laundering thing, he ain't taking no check. They want no paper trail. So these bribes are generally in cash or kind. You take gold, you take some valuable thing, diamond, gold. In some places, money laundering, you take painting, and all in the whole process. Guyana is a cash-based society. So you're taking cash. Now, once you in this big money laundering, big bribery scheme, corrupt scheme, you're taking cash, you left, right, and center, you're taking money. You have to now try to clean the money. Because you can't do like what Brutus did and go and deposit one time $14.4 million in the bank, $44.4 million in the bank. That is going to raise eyebrows. That is going to raise eyebrows. So one of the classic way of trying to launder money is to purchase property, you promote some sport, you promote some cricket match, you promote something. And once you do that, then you try to integrate, you try to clean the money by integrating it into the system. That is what money laundering basically is. So there are three phases of the money laundering. You have a placement, and I'm teaching money laundering now, but I did courses up to recently with dealing with money laundering. You get placement, but you got to place the money somewhere. Then after you place it, you got to layer it. And then after layering it, you have to integrate it. Now, integrating is where you're bringing this nasty money into the system. You're bringing the dirty money, you try to clean it up, you bring it to the system. So let me give an example. You get nasty money, you got a little cake shop. You got to establish some business. The cake shop ain't doing well, taking blows. But when your books are written up, you're going to show that this cake shop is perhaps the most progressive cake shop they get. You're taking blows, you ain't doing nothing, but your records will show that you're deriving substantial sums of money from the cake shop. So in other words, it's in launder money. You take the nasty money, you buy your drinks, you buy whatever, and then you clean it up. So when they're taking these millions and dollars, US dollars we're talking about, they can't go to any one of the local banks and deposit it. They have to make sure they go through some process. So in Brutus' case, they allege that he bought properties, one at Schoonard, one in Alberton. They allege that he bought properties. They allege that he put some in his 2-year-old son bank account. Is money laundering. That's what is being alleged in this case. Money laundering. But hey, once you decide that you're doing this thing through the USA buying property, the authorities there they might turn a blind eye. But be sure, dead sure, the federal authorities in the US, they are not going to turn a blind eye on that. Because the IRS will come in with tax, especially if this man is a US citizen or resident, I don't know. But 2 properties, they say one is $925,000 and it's below market value and other stuff. Watch out. Watch out when they come for you. Watch out. Continue to share. Now let me address this thing, what the student talk. The student say, oh, he put the property in a trust. What does that mean? What is a trust? Now, it has to do with estate planning. And I've been telling you all a long time now, the old students will know, that I have been doing financial management, exposed to estate planning. I told you all that if you want to get information in it, I have a virtual book on all of these, right? An electronic book. If you want, send me your details, your telephone number, and your email address. I will email it to you as early as when this program is finished. I have the book called Saving Your Future. Now it tells us here what is estate planning. Quickly, let me run through it. Not long. They say estate planning. There's a few people think about estate planning. Of course, if people don't have much in terms of savings, investments, and insurance, estate planning will not be on a priority list for them. It said most think estate planning is for rich people who live in mansions high up on the hill. But in fact, everyone has an asset. Everyone has an estate. Your estate is everything you own minus your debt, such as your house, car, money in the bank, family heirlooms, etc. Imagine you work hard your entire life and build up an estate. You want to pass it on to someone, but it ends up in someone else due to lack of planning. Thus, a will or a trust is a tool for you to organize how you want your estate distributed when you pass. So basically what it's saying, we all have estate. And if you want to determine who your estate should pass to, you got a will or a trust. Now, what is a will? Let me read to you what is a will. Let me go come into trust. A will is a legal document that allows you to distribute your property to those of your choosing. It allows you to assign a specific item from your estate to one person and other items to other person or an organization. Your will should name an executor, the person who will carry out your wishes. Wills also give you the opportunity to pick a guardian for your children. The guardian will be responsible for their welfare. If you don't have a will, the government will use their own standard to distribute your estate, and you may not like what they do. So basically what we're saying is, you got a will, you make out a will. Wherever you get, you want to go to this body, that body, that body, that body. When you die, your property is going to be distributed based on your wishes in the will. However, when you do a will, it has to go through probate before it is distributed. Probate takes a long time and can be very expensive. Hamad told me the other day that he had to do a probate for his father's estate, over 500,000 Guyana dollars. Right? So it takes time, and you have to get legal people to assist you to do the probate. Right? Now, if you die without a will, that's what I say, as they say, you die intestate, it means that the state will determine how your property will be distributed. Who gets what? That is what is going to happen. So they always tell people, make sure you get a will or a trust. Now, what is a trust? A will only takes effect when you die. The will takes effect when you die. However, a living trust can benefit you while you are still alive. Living trusts are generally revocable, which means you can always make changes to them. With a living trust, all your assets like your home, bank account, stocks, and bonds are put into a trust administered for your benefit during your lifetime and then transferred to your beneficiary when you die. Most people name themselves as a trustee in charge of managing these assets. Thus, you have control over it. You can also name a successor trustee in case you are unable to manage the trust. Living trusts cost more to prepare. Fund or manage that. Let me put the reader back. Living trusts cost more to prepare, fund, or manage than a will. Having one helps to avoid probate costs for all the assets in the trust. Thus, should you have a will or a living trust to take care of your family, or else, thus you should have a will or a trust to take care of your family, or else the government will do it. Proper planning with professionals can be helpful and prevent you from to leave your legacy and preserve your estate for the causes you work all your life for. So let me understand. Let me understand. That is what the trust is. Now, in this case, it is said that this man created a blind trust. Now, not ordinary trust. He created a blind trust. Now, let me read to you what a blind trust is. A financial arrangement in which a person in public office gives the administration of private business interest to an independent trust in order to prevent conflict of interest. Under the trust, the owner does not know how the assets are managed. So if you have an ordinary trust, the trustee or the owner who can be the trustee manages the trust. But when you talk about a blind trust, you give it to someone who manages it on your behalf, and you don't know what they can please. But this trust, what this man created, that's a blind trust, but he is named as a trustee, and some other body carrying his surname is also named as a trustee. So I don't know how this is going. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, forget some of this about in them. So I thought I'll explain that to you. Yes, CC, go ahead.
You were very, very clear, you know, and you raised some two important points there: a will and a trust. And it's time that, you know, we started to look at that, whether you want a will or a trust. For me, I know I get off more years ago. I ain't going back on to a century, but I already have my will. And if you die intestate, it creates a whole lot of problem. Plenty problem for the people who should supposed to benefit from your from the funds that you have there. And a trust, well, the trust will be active thing, as you mentioned. Blind trust is something else too. But the thing is that, when you look at it, why a blind trust? Why a blind trust? But the point I want to make, go back to this, is that we should start thinking, or person start thinking, that either you make a will or you get a trust, to avoid any eventualities, to avoid things from happening. More so, you have a will or a trust.
Yeah, so I noted some comments here about the will and trust. Good, we titillated, we titillated some interest here. Yeah, read up on what it is. I just give you a little tap thing. You get revocable will, you get revocable trust, and all of that. You have those things. Simone, if you need, you say you need a book, send me your email address and your telephone number, and certainly I will send it to you. With the name of the book is Saving Your Future. It has all the financial concepts in simple language that we need to know. It has all of that, right? Oh yeah, well, look, somebody's making a comment here that I was reading. There's a lot of corruption in the system, a lot of corruption, and as Mr. Conway pointed out, I don't know that this one man, just as in the case of Brutus, this one man kind of perpetrated all these things by himself. $925,000 in property in Queens, New York. Another property in Queens, New York. Again, I ask, is he a citizen? Is he a resident of New York? Right? Does he pay tax? Because Uncle Sam don't make sport with tax, Uncle Sam don't make sport with tax. And yes, John, we come into that because this Philip Ballio is a brother of Albert Ballio. Albert Ballio was a lawyer in Guyana, a lawyer in the U.S. as well. I think he was also a magistrate in Guyana. I can be wrong, but I think he was a magistrate for some period of time in Guyana. But in New York, he has been disbarred from practicing law. And in the interview with Travis, the brother, Philip, is saying he admitted that his brother was disbarred from practicing law in the U.S. or in New York. I'm not in New York or the entire U.S., but says that he did not commit a crime. It's something to do with campaign financing. Well, my brother, campaign financing is a crime. CC, come in. I want to answer an important call coming through. So let CC come in here. I can answer this call. And CC, go ahead.
Yeah, and I can remember Albert Baldeo well, because he was a magistrate and he used to run the interior. And I remember I was a prosecutor at Korpong, and we clashed on a couple of occasions because, for obvious reason, there had some matters where we took up the role of the person didn't have any attorney to represent them, and he took up the role of the defense counsel, and we clashed a couple of times. So I remember Albert Baldeo, and I think I read some time ago that he was debarred in the States. I don't know what were the reasons for him to debar, and thing. But the fact is, that this thing with corruption, it is so widespread, and it is being in the highest places in Guyana, and it's not no one man show. Other persons, in this present case that we're dismissing, other persons have to be involved in it. So not a one man show, not a lone wolf. As I said, Paul, I remember Baldeo, he was a magistrate and I prosecuted in front of him, although we clashed on a couple of occasions.
Sorry, thanks. I forgot to unmute. I forgot to unmute. Thanks, student. Yeah, so let me go back to say, Philip Baldeo said somebody sent me the note to say that former Guyanese magistrate Albert Baldio jailed in New York. That was a Kaicho News article some time ago. And so yes, that is what they say. And I am saying to you that he and Philip are brothers. Philip, in his interview with Travis Chase, claimed that his brother was debarred, but he did not commit any crime because it was finance campaigning. So I'm saying to you, Mr. Dr. Philip Ballieu, in the U.S., campaign financing is a crime. It is a crime. So he said that. He said he flew in from the U.S. to defend himself. That's what he told Travis. Again, this was a masterclass of an interview, and I have to encourage all of you who have not seen it yet. It is there. Look, this morning it was played on CAMS TV. I looked at it again this morning because I don't want to misquote the goodly doctor or anybody. So I looked at it and I made some notes. The man said that the brother, imagine he claimed that he does not know, he claimed that he does not know who invested money, that he's invested money. That he does not know that investing money with Ed Ahmad, who is a convicted fraudster in the U.S., is illegal. That's what he said. He said, yeah, no. So Travis had to point him to the thing and tell him, Ed Ahmad was convicted and jailed some time ago with this housing fraud, mortgage fraud in the U.S. I think part of the thing, he got to pay back, make restitution to some people, which I think he's still doing. He cannot get involved in the housing business, mortgage business, housing financing business. That is the order of the court. Should not own a firearm. And yesterday I saw a license that he's a licensed owner of a Glock pistol, a Glock 9mm pistol in Guyana. I saw that. So the whole story is he should not get involved. So if this man, as Baldo is claiming here now, that he invested in some company owned by Ed Ahmad, Travis will tell you that is illegal. It is illegal. And then it goes on to say that the man acquired lands, as we alluded to earlier, along the Heroes Highway. And allegations are circulated as to how he got the lands, who called whom to tell he gave the land. Graves within the thing. Guys, he was the man CEO at Central Housing and Planning Authority. He was there, facilitated this thing, and people can't get land. Not only that, since you talk about 30 acres, I saw something this morning, which I'll read back later. Land on the Heroes Highway, land at in the Ogle area, lands all over the place. Lands all over the place, large acreage of land. And then I think the president is alleged to have made a statement that they facilitated investors to get this land and so on. Investors to get the land, so to these poor people were there in the place, right? Imagine. Then you go on, he says, he admitted that he was taken to court by residents and was ordered to fix a road. Apparently, he had some property there. And right in Ghana, I think it is. Yeah, right in Ghana. Right in Ghana. He got some housing property. And he wasn't fixing the road. And the residents took him to court to have the road fixed. And the court ordered him to fix the road. And guess what? According to the interview, he admitted again, the government taking we taxpayers' money to fix this road, which is basically private thing. Let me repeat that. That's what came out in the interview. Dr. Ballieu admitted that some resident, he said, of course, he said disgruntled resident took him to court over the fact. Some people saying song still. I'm sure people can hear me, man, because I can look and see I've unmuted a while ago. So Moses, check again. Right, so can you hear me? Let me pause. Because several persons now are saying song. I believe it has to do with the internet. Because when I look, it is right down. Part of the problem I have been getting all morning. Part of the problem. Somebody said loud and clear, so like it's going and coming. It's going and coming. So bear with me. Bear with me. It's the internet. It's gone up back now. So that is it. So yeah, the man got a property. And this property, the residents took him to court because they say he didn't maintain the road or something. The court ordered him to maintain the road. And would you believe, according to what he admitted in the interview, that the government of Guyana is now repairing the road, private road belonging to Philip Ballieu, government of Guyana using taxpayers' money to repair it. That is not corruption too. That is what is going on. And then he said he bought 30 acres of land from the central housing at Eros Highway in the Mocha Arcade area. What if it's the same land where they take away from these people where the road at the pass, where they bulldoze these black people from the area, destroy their livestock, destroy their building, bury the stock, bury drinks and all of those stuff. One in the same land is now Central Housing and Planning Authority sold to Dr. Baldu. So perhaps somebody can clarify. Perhaps somebody can clarify. And it was said from the outset, when this thing happened in Mocha Arcadia, that where these people lived, the road was not going to pass there. But it was speculated that what they wanted is to get this land, because once the road passed there, it means that the property value will go up. So they wanted to take away the land from these people and to give it to their friends, family, favorite. The thing is now being revealed. So they might get 30 acres of land there. Then he purchased thing and he said money from his bank, transferred money from his bank in the US. And when he was asked which bank, he can't remember which one in the bank. He said he has several bank accounts, but you don't know which one of the bank accounts the money was transferred from. All of these things are red flags. All these things are red flags. Then he said, let me read through again. Even the lands that he acquired, his attorney said got to explain. He wants his attorney to explain because a lot of things he know. And he's supposed to be building, he emphasizing that he's supposed to be building some Afrocentric restaurant. Afrocentric restaurant he building. And the man describing himself now as a black. He is black. He's not brown. Say in the US he's black. No, in the US they describe you as brown. Colored, he's brown in the US, but now he say he's black. So he suddenly know that he is black. Like Brutus. Brutus was never black until he get trouble now. All the time he was of mixed race and all that. When he wrote the letter to the minister, which caused him to get charged, well, he wasn't charged, which caused him to be investigated for breach of discipline, he never described himself as a black. He never described himself as a black. So all of a sudden now, you can describe yourself as a black. Now look, we get enough black thieves around. We don't want nobody who and black to come because you're accused of thieving and corruption for coming to the village or into the yard. Stay where you're there, man. Stay, don't come at all. Then he said, when they asked us, imagine he ensured to whether shares were issued. He ensured either in his company, and he ensured if shares were issued to anyone. Right? You got to get the council to provide the information. Then they asked about your relationship with Ahmad. You never know relationship with Ahmad, even though you knew him since early 1990s. He has a relationship with a company that Ahmad represents, but not Ahmad. If you hear nonsense with this matter, right? Then was he when he was Ahmad was convicted in the US of fraud. He was sued, the same doctor again, he was sued in the States for harboring illegal immigrants. He come with a long explanation about Airbnb, all of the things you hear this man say. And again, kudos to Travis Brackley there. Brackley, get it. So the point where the man cry, the man suddenly decided he's black and he crying. And then he's played with the same arrest we get arrested in the States, right? The man said, the man said they asked him he paid some more money, but the man wasn't employed by him. You must look at the part. He is paying this man, but he's insisting that the man is not his employee. That's how you're paying this man. Then he said, well, the man is a part-time employee. Part-time or full-time, the man is employed by you. So he dancing. And then he said that when he said 12 detectives, when he was arrested, 12 detectives arrested him. 12 detectives in New York arrested him. That's what he said. And then Travis asked him at the end, whether he would be willing to take a lie detector test administered by the FBI. Then he said yes, but only if Travis will be willing to take a lie detector test to say who are the sources of his information. You know, he would take a lie detector test only if Travis Chase is willing to take a lie detector test to disclose the sources of his information. So obviously, when you know that the FBI are going to ask me about misuse, I'm a journalist. So no, the FBI. So basically, he said he going to take no lie detector test, right? And then he said that he helped put the PPP in power. Make some statement on social media that he helped put the PPP in power. When Travis asked that, he got back to Dr. Jagan. Travis said, no, you're not asking about Dr. Jagan. You ask what now? Oh, he contributed to the APNU, PNC. He contributed to the thing. And then, of course, he praising the two most qualified men to lead the country. Who are the two men? The president and the vice president, of course. The vice president, with all them allegation, well, at least one serious allegation against him about corruption, most qualified. Well, I guess in the current in the dynamics we're going on now with all them corruption and so on, perhaps he is the most qualified because he got Brutus change the motorcycle series from CB252 to CB261. You get the lady at the social protection with $150 something million. And you ain't nothing about that, you know. Ain't nothing about that. Now you get this Sherwin Graves CEO buying property, 925 million, and some other property the man buying. So perhaps yes, they are the most qualified to lead because it's corruption. He himself admitted, say that the land where there is so much Guyana, a land where there is so much corruption. Dr. Philip Baldio admitted that in the interview. And somebody reminded me here in the chat that Dr. Ramaya from Quarantine wrote something recently. He resigned from something because of corruption. The corruption is rampant. Anybody, even Ray Charles, can see what is going on. Even Ray Charles, well, let me say this here too. Even the man in the National Assembly, who is the speaker, who bans the word corruption from Parliament. I saw something recently where he is alleged to be involved in some corrupt deal. This is an allegation. Some corrupt deal involving some motor vehicle value 100,000 US dollars. Rotten from the top to the bottom. They're rotten. And when you make allegations, or when the allegations float, they run and claim that you threaten them, they run and claim that you are extorting them, and then they want to use the weaponized police to come and arrest you and to harass you. That is what is going on. That is what is going on. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and we got a couple of little moments. Let me bring Mr. Conway. CC, you saw the interview too with the doctor, I'm sure. What are your comments, my brother?
I saw it and I watched it several times. I watched it with my wife and we analyze it. And I would say that is the interview of the year. Travis was really outstanding. And he had his information, he has his background information, you know. And I listened to the man. It's best the man stay in the States and don't come here, you know. He only come here for making himself a comic. Things like he know which bank account is the money came from. When he's cornered, he got to talk to his attorney for his attorney give you the information. Yeah, that he helped put the government in power. He paying a man's salary, but the man is not his employee, and a whole lot of corrupting. You know, the more you listen to that tape, the more you see the man made himself a choker. Is Betsy the Stacy? You know we fly together for? Or he believes Travis chasing and know his about? It's naked corruption. And he can't get away from the corruption. And the point is that there is corruption with Guyanese locally and Guyanese overseas. And it's not a one-man thing or a one-woman thing. It's deep in the system. is embedded in the system, this thing they call corruption. Not a lone wolf, not a one person. I listened to it to the, to the interview, man, and I had to watch it several times, several times. It is so interesting, And Travis was there all the time. And when the man want to branch off and go off and sometimes they bring him back to thing there. Okay, I don't want a history now. Let's deal with this and we get back to the history. And if at the end Travis give him opportunity to say what he want to say, and then he crying like a little baby, it's not coming through his nose. He take off his spectacle and wipe his eyes and all kind of thing. I think it was devastating. I don't think he might want to go back to Travis. He might find some other, but he might find critical or some one of them to deal with him.
He might get like the extended quarter. Remember when they extended quarter and Bladum come up? Said they get a press conference to debunk the allegation by Bascom, and it was a spectacular failure. Something like this. He want got to no interview again. Maybe he can go to Fox News or something. He and want nothing to do with Travis Chase again. Of course, they have a lot of people in Guyana who will interview him and also will push the propaganda. But that interview with Travis Chase and Dr. Philip Balio was a masterclass in how to conduct a proper interview. Now, some people commenting about the barrel, but I listened to the barrel part, and he was talking about people sending money on the barrel. I don't think it's in barrel. I think it is misinterpreted. I can misrepresent it. That is how I understand it. I listened to it this morning, and I think he was saying that people in the States sending money and barrel, which is we know going on all the time. But some people apparently are interpreting that to mean that he's saying that people sending money in barrel. I don't think that is what was said. So we was listening to it back. I can listen to it back again. I can listen to it because that is what I heard. I don't know if I heard wrong, but that is what was being said. But again, listen, all of you should listen to this interview. All of you should listen to this interview. With this man tying up himself in knots. Tying up himself in knots. Basic questions. He invested how much million US and all of that. And he cannot, he know who the investors are. He know where he money there. And oh man, but what I like most, Travis had his notes. And every time he come to deviate, Travis say, answer the question first, then you can explain. Oh, beautiful. I ask you a question, answer the question, and then if you want to explain, but don't come with no salawala. Don't give me no Raja luncheon, talk enough and say nothing, right? And you can see when the man done, the man broke down. I'm in fact, I had missed that part first. At first, go wrong, I missed it. So I had to watch back. I had to watch back and see the man gone, the man wiping the eyes, take off his glasses and zoom in on the eye red like somebody dead for you. Corruption, kill the corruption and you would have to cry. Kill the corruption. People are saying that he said money in barrel. I can check it back because I might have worded differently. I think money in barrel, I don't know. I might have, I ain't gonna tell you, you are not listening. I make mistakes. You are not listening. You know what, man? 83 square mile, tell people you're not listening. I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to listen it back. And so perhaps when we come next, I can clarify that. Now, one of the things I mentioned earlier is that I saw evidence that on social media, right? That Eramad, they're claiming that part of the release from the prison in the States is that he shouldn't be a licensed firearm owner. I saw a license where he has a Glock 9mm pistol. But what struck me as strange when I looked at the license, it didn't say what type of Glock pistol. Well, I know about guns. I ain't gonna say he's a gunman, because you might interpret that differently. I know a lot about guns, right? And you can't write, and this is the police who are writing these licenses. You can't write Glock 9mm pistol. Glock has different models. Glock 17, Glock 18, Glock 19, Glock 19X, Glock 20, 21, Glock 23, 27, 26, 43, 34, all sorts of different type of Glock. So if you're writing a license for a Glock pistol, a man who owns a Glock pistol, You have to have the proper description. Can't just put Glock 9mm. Got to be a Glock 17, Glock 19, or Glock whatever it is. Right? So this is the police who are writing these things. I don't know if it was deliberate. I suspect it was because of lack of knowledge. They just write a Glock. A Glock is not a Glock. They have different types. They got a very small Glock pistols, larger ones like the 17 and so on. So you all got to make sure you check the thing, and the model is going to be on the pistol. So when you're writing these licensed police who are involved in that process, make sure you know exactly what. Umi asked, what is a Glock? A Glock is a model of pistol. You know, Glock, you got different kinds of pistol. You got Smith & Wesson, you got Taurus, you got different. Glock is a model type of pistol, a very popular type all over the world. Glock is perhaps the most popular type of pistol. So that is what. So the person who asks, what is a Glock? A Glock is a kind, a model of pistol. Sorry, I didn't explain that. I didn't teach right then because I shouldn't assume that all my students know what a Glock is. So that is what a Glock is. Now, let me say this as we winding down. I saw a post last night. I saw a post last night. That's how I tell a generation of Glock. Yeah, different model, different generations. I say it's the most popular, one of the most popular handguns, pistols in the world. One of the most popular in the world. Somebody asked last night, let me read this one before bringing Mr. Connery. Somebody asked, what is happening in Region 1 with Commander Ramana? Who is going to tell President Ali Robeson-Ben of the Ministry of Home Affairs that this man is assaulting the indigenous people in the region? The man say, he don't want no anti-man picture hanging over your head. Well, I want somebody to take out the picture for him, see who he's describing as an anti-man picture hanging over your head. Then he goes on to say, Ramana, you're going to tell the public why you stripped that helpless man today and threatened him. This is yesterday. What a bag that dropped in the ocean got inside. And now you know the man got it. And you're proud to announce that Irfan sent you. Okay, over to Irfan. That is what it said. Somebody posted last night. Carl, let me tell you, Carl make a comment, a Glock is a deadly pistol. All pistols are deadly. Let me understand this clearly. All pistols are deadly. When I used to teach Firearm, I used to tell them all firearms were designed to kill. Firearm designed all firearms. Whether it's a pistol, a rifle, a shotgun, a revolver, assault rifle, all pistols, all firearms were designed to kill. And all pistols, firearms are deadly. Not only Glock, because I tell people too that if you have any pistol and you're not trained to use it, it's equivalent to having a piece of brick in your hand, right? If you have a pistol and you don't know how to use it, you're dangerous. You can be a danger to yourself. Let me bring him as a comment for give the closing and comment on to give his closing. CC.
Just meeting on Glock, you know. I'm happy that you talk about the various types of Glock, this series. And my first experience with Glock was when I was in Jamaica at the Constabulary Staff College, you know, under the great for me former Commissioner Francis Forbes, you know, Glock. You have some very interesting that I cannot disclose. And they used to say in Jamaica that the police in Jamaica, the ID card is a Glock. Because they couldn't go and skin no ID card. They had to use a Glock in certain situations. I don't know what transpired. Now, when closing again, I'm talking about this Amerindian police who gone back to region number 9. They have to pay $7,000 to a police corporal to get their boots. The boots are the police supposed to issue in. For us, Brutus then buy boots. So they have to buy their own boots. And they haven't been refunded. As I'm hoping that by money, they will get back their refund for the boots that they purchased from a police corporal stationed at Ivleri, who I understand is fronting for a very senior officer in terms of the business that he doing, not business, and he doing business for senior police officer. He might be another Brutus.
Yeah. Let me address a student who talked. A student just mentioned that all Glocks are 9mm. Look, this is not a firearm class, but you shouldn't comment on things you don't know about. All Glocks are not 9mm caliber, right? Take this from me, who's supposed to be a marksman and a former firearm instructor. All Glocks are not of the same 9mm caliber. So, Andrew, correct. Go and check it. You can go and check it for yourself, right? Go and check it for yourself. They have other caliber of Glock other than 9mm, right? So, let me tell you this. You know, all what we're saying about this corruption, you must remember the statement from GHK Lal, who says that what we have today is not a government, but a gang of gangsters. For the most part, what guidelines are for leaders today are nothing but out-of-control lunatics, pathological liars, unreconstructed racists, and political sadists, right? So, oh Lord, you don't know? You know what Glock, all Glocks are not 9mm. You're right. All Glocks are not 9mm, right? So, Glenn, GSK last said it. So with all this corruption and so on going on, that is part of the system. Friends, family, favorite. And I get more to reveal, but time does not permit today. I gotta give y'all therapy, of course. You gotta get your therapy, and then I'm gonna close by telling you what comes next. Got to give you your therapy. Where is it? Where is it? Hold on. Y'all bear with me a little. Bear with me a little. Bear with me. You gotta get your treatment. Here we go.
Sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su. Oh, Su. My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, he is a friend of ours.
He claims.
Yeah, he's a friend of ours. Friend of ours. Folks, Abera, you like the show. Look at the bottom there, Zell, Cash App, 718-308-7179. Y'all get a little tap up so that we can continue to do the thing on this program. Give a tap up. And we have an MMG number now, 613-8856. For a long time, people in Guyana have been saying that they don't have Zelle, they don't have Cash App, but they have MMG. So therefore, give me a little something to keep the program going. Keep the program. Cause you see, I bought a internet extender, so I got to start using it again. So today, after a long time, we getting dropping signals and so on. But the signal booster that I bought will deal with that. So I got to start using that signal booster again to make sure that we come across very clearly and you can follow us without these interruptions and so on. Folks, we have come to the end of today's program. Before I leave, I want to ask again the police to tell us what is the position with the investigation into the death of Sergeant Alex Vaughn. Vaughn was killed on the 12th of March, 2024. They say by friendly fire. In other words, some other police accidentally shot him. 12th of March, 2024. We were told that some policeman was under close arrest. That was in March 2024. This is February 2025. Almost 11 months since this matter happened. And we're not hearing anything further. The GDF helicopter crash, they told us that the report was finished. The report had to go to stakeholders. And after the stakeholders make their comments, Jerry Gobaya said, The commander-in-chief, the president, will determine whether the thing will be made public. Jack Joe said, no, Jerry, you're right. The defense board will determine. But up to now, we can't hear anything. 5 people killed. And I always remember there were 2 survivors. We haven't heard a word from the survivors. And therefore, speculation was rife as to what actually took place. So much so that people speculated that that helicopter might have been shot down by the Venezuelans because it was a time when the tension was there. All of these things. And they can't give no report yet. That was since December 2023. That crash, that fatal crash, December 2023. And you can't hear nothing yet. About a week ago, just over a week ago, you had 2 crashes in the U.S. One in Washington that killed 60-something people, where a military helicopter flew in to an American airline plane. And then some medical jet crashed in Philadelphia. I am sure that within next month or so, you're going to hear at least some preliminary report as to what transpired. But Guyana, well over a year, you can't hear anything. They did tell us, of course, that the black buck was damaged. Something that was designed to be indestructible, they say it was damaged. Folks, that's what we get. That is what we have. Barlet, no Barlet. Unless something dramatic happen, we ain't got no class on Friday. I got a life to live, right? I have things to do, places to go, people to meet. And I try my best to come to you as often as I can. But we got other stuff to do. Both Mr. Conway and I have other stuff to do. And of course, as I've said, justice for Sergeant Vaughn. Can't hear anything about Vaughn. So folks, we had a good morning. Again, I say, please contribute. And I got to thank all those who have been making their contributions. It has gone a long way to make towards ensure we pay platform fee, storage, stationery, and all of these things, right? Buy equipment, lights, and camera, and all sorts of things. So please assist where you can. And when we meet again, Bala telling me about Friday. It is not planned for us to meet on Friday. Let me tell you this straight. As it's now, God's willing, we are going to meet again on Monday. But as I've said to you, once you subscribe, once you hit the notification button, you're going to get notifications. If something happens and we got to come out tomorrow or Friday, you are going to get the notification and you're going to be able to join. We had a fantastic day today. Students in the record numbers in the schoolyard are on the live. I thank you. And again, God's willing, stay safe. Stay safe. How many deaths over the weekend on the roads? How many deaths this morning? Murder. That is what is going on. And they tell you that Guyana is the safest place. That is what they tell you. That Guyana is safe. Bring tourists. Guyana is safe. Folks, until we meet again, bye for now.